Hey everybody, my name is Ed. Okay, another old school random comic book review. This one's gonna be Defenders 35. Oh, this glare! Defenders 35 from 1976. Here we go. Published, of course, by Marvel Comics. Look here. Covered by Gil Kane, Mike Exposito. Okay, all right. Inside cover, we have an ad for Monogram Models. They all look like hot rods and drag racers, dragsters, with kind of horror themes. A fearsome foursome: the Hangman, the Sand Shark, the Rattler, and the Stinger. So yeah, that's what we got for you. Okay. All right. So the story here is called "Bring Back My Body to Me, to Me." Written by Steve Gerber, art by Sal Buscema and Klaus Janson. And it opens, we're in Russia, and this guy is holding a knife to this lady's face. And the caption here goes, it says something about our culture that we Americans find it difficult to conceive of a country where crime in the streets is not considered a major problem. And the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, however, is such a nation and is highly regimented, tightly policed society. The daily brutalities in which we've become inured are exceedingly rare but not quite non-existent. For no society of human beings can be fully immune to crimes of violence, and that's actual thing, especially at that time, where it's the mid 70s and crime was in states and urban, in big cities where it's like really on the rise. Uh, the same sort of muggings and things like that weren't really happening in the Soviet Union, at least not to the degree that they were in America at that particular time. And there's all sorts of political and cultural reasons for that. But we're not going to talk about that now. So anyway, here comes the Red Guardian. And this is the second Red Guardian. The first Red Guardian appeared in the 60 stories of the Avengers, and that person was the first husband of the Black Widow. Ended up dying in the first story that we appeared. He was supposed to be the Soviet equivalent of Captain America, but then he ends up having a fight with Cap and all these sort of things. Slim Jims, customize your van. But then he found out that his handlers or whatever, they're part of an evil regime. And he turned against them and they ended up killing him or whatever. So anyway, this is a new Red Guardian. And wait, when did that story come out? I don't know. That story had to come out like mid-late 60s. I'm trying to think. I know it was like in the first one of the Avengers, like, and that story happened in issue 40 something or another. So what is that? 60 something or another, 66, 67, something like that. Something like that. I don't know. But anyway, this is the new Red Guardian. Her name is Dr. Tanya Belinsky, and she's a surgeon. And she's being called by Doctor Strange. And the whole point of it is this person here. Oh no, wait. Let's see here. How do I say this? Well, basically, the whole point of it is they need her to come to the States because they need to put Nighthawk's brain back in his body. Nighthawk's brain is like in a bowl with some liquid in it. You don't he's standing right here, but what it is Jack Norris. This is, a friend of the Defenders, which I'll explain in a moment. But they've mystically put his brain in Nighthawk's body, so he could walk around and they could get Nighthawk's actual brain back. So here we have Doctor Strange, you know, putting Jack Norris's brain back where it belongs in his regular body. The Hulk is getting bored and he's mad and he wants to go find this deer that he's befriended, and he goes stomping off, learns kung fu and karate. So he goes stomping off. Okay, and so here we switch to the bad guys. Now the bad guys were behind all this brain switching stuff. They had one of their bad guys switch his brain with Nighthawk, and then have Nighthawk's brain got switched with Jack Norris. And so now what's going on is they've made a temporary body for their bad guy. Their bad guy is a guy named Chandu. So what happens is they're working on their plan, and then bam, here comes this golden man, and this deer show up, and he's all pissed, and he's like, "This was your doing. You tapped my dimension-spanning powers and snatched me away from my battle with the Defenders." Now, the golden man is this dude called Nebulon or something like that. He's like, "Are you addressing this deer? I am Nebulon, and my arrival here was not by choice." You have this pretty funny story here, or drawing here, I should say, of, this scowling deer. He says, "What's going on here? I am Chandu." That's because in the last issue, when the Defenders figured out what was going on, Doctor Strange used his powers to put Chandu's powers in some random deer. Here's an ad for Marvel Treasury Editions. All right. Okay. So the whole thing about Nebulon is Nebulon wants to take over the world just like the other bad guys. The headmen want to take over the world, but they're kind of in competition. They're not really working together. They're just doing their plans. They just happen to be doing their plans at their separate plans at the same time. Okay. And here's Doctor Strange picking up the Red Guardian at the hospital. But what's going on here? Somebody's following them around. Yeah. Dun dun dun. Anyway, the Hulk has wandered off to the zoo, but then the cops show up and they start shooting at him because he's the Hulk. Then Valkyrie jumps in to try to break up the fight, but the Hulk gets mad, and flies off down here. So the bad guys are going to get Chandu's brain out of the deer and put it into the new body. And Marvel checklist. Ad for MarvelCon 76. Some of the comics that were being sold that week are Avengers 147, Hulk 199, Jungle Action 21, that's Black Panther comic, Defenders comic that we have here, Omega the Unknown #2, and Conan #62. Letters page, value stamp that just basically has the title Incredible Hulk. Fix any car part. Okay. Okay. And so they put Chandu's brain into his new body. And he's freaking out. Improvements? What have you done? And they're like, calm down, calm down. If you don't like this body, just go get you another one. We'll put your brain there. So that's what happens. Grabs this construction worker and kidnaps him. That's for skateboards. These skateboards at the time, these were all kind of like plastic and fiberglass. I remember those things. And they were just real kind of chintzy. I mean, they were fun, but they were nothing like what they would come up like, just, a few years later. Okay, so anyway, here's Valkyrie and Jack Norris hanging around. And the whole thing about Jack Norris is this Valkyrie, this is Broomhilda, and whatever. Whatever. Um, and she's actually taking the body of she exists on Earth because she's taking the body of some random Earth person, and that's that, la di da, where I am Valkyrie. And now, but then it turns out that she had this husband that nobody knew about. So now he's hanging around thinking that he's going to get his wife back. Of course, everybody keeps telling her, well, no, your wife's spirit is gone to wherever. You're hanging around mooning over Valkyrie, and this isn't the same person who your wife was. But that's a lot of the that's some of the conflict and a lot of the comedy that's part of the book at this point. So anyway, they're hanging out. They see Chandu kidnapping this guy, and of course, there's a fight. Ah, then let's see here. Bullpen bulletins. Drawing of Kill Raven. Kill Raven was this science fiction comic that they had at the time. It was titled War of the Worlds, but it was only loosely connected to that popular book. Spider-Man, Hostess Twinkies. You look closely, you can tell it's Ross Andrew art. Ross Andrew was the main artist on Spider-Man at that particular time. Anyway, Valkyrie and Chandu fall into this restaurant. They have a big fight. Valkyrie wins. However, the cops say, you can't walk away from this. You're under arrest. And that's the end until next issue. Oh, and let's see here. There's an ad. Learn how to be a locksmith. And then, of course, make money selling seeds. Ah. All right, okay, so that's it. Thank you very much for watching. And have a good day.